Good morning and welcome to today's Global Insight Report. Hi everyone, I'm Muhammad Ihsan Putradana and I'm serving as a script reader for this session. This week, global attention is focused on Washington, D.C., where President Donald Trump's administration has announced significant increases in import tariffs on various products, particularly from China. This move, claimed as an effort to protect domestic industries, has instead sparked fears of a full-scale trade war that could have domino effect on the global economy. It's also triggering strong protest and speculation about retaliatory responses, as well as its impact on global supply chains, inflation, and geopolitical stability. How is the world reacting to this aggressive step, and what does it mean for all of us? We will thoroughly analyze this issue, beginning with a global check-in to see the initial reactions from the world major economic centers. Let's dive into the immediate global reactions to these new US tariffs, connecting with our correspondents in various parts of the world for their insight. In Beijing, the primary target of these recent tariff policies, the reaction has been nothing short of furious. China's Ministry of Commerce swiftly issued a statement vehemently condemning the US move, categorizing it as a clear act of protectionism that brazenly violates established principles of free trade and the foundational rules set by the World Trade Organization (WTO). While specific retaliatory tariffs have yet to be formally announced, analysts are in near unanimous agreement that Beijing will soon unleash its own countermeasures, likely targeting strategically significant US products, with agricultural goods and specific high-tech sectors appearing to be prime candidates. Public sentiment across China also mirrors this official indignation, fueled by a surge of nationalistic favor, with many citizens feeling that the US is deliberately attempting to impede China's ongoing economic ascent. State-controlled media outlets have even begun hinting at or outright calling for consumer boycotts of certain prominent American brands. Shifting our focus to Europe, the European Union, a colossal trading bloc and a major economic partner of the United States, has reacted with profound apprehension. Although the EU itself was not the direct target of this latest round of tariffs in the same vein as China, there is widespread concern that the new US tariffs on Chinese goods could inadvertently trigger a significant diversion of cheaper Chinese products towards European markets. This potential influx could overwhelm and severely disadvantage local producers across the continent, sparking fears of internal market distortions. Furthermore, European officials are wary that this current US state against China might eventually pivot, making Europe the next target of increased American protectionism. The European Commission has publicly advocated for immediate multilateral dialogue as the preferred avenue to resolve this burgeoning trade dispute. Yet it has simultaneously its unequivocal readiness to implement swift and robust retaliatory measures should any European industry find itself unfairly threatened by this or future unilateral actions. Thank you to all our correspondents for their insightful live report. It's unequivocally clear that this latest decision by the United States has sent profound shock waves reverberating across the globe, carrying it broad-ranging and incredibly complex implications that are far from fully understood. Viewers, after the global reactions, let's explore the core motivations behind these US tariff hikes and their paradoxical impact on the global economic framework. President Donald Trump's administration justifies these tariffs as a vital tool against China's unfair trade practices, including intellectual property theft, state subsidies, and market barriers. Washington sees them as a strategic lever to force Beijing to change its conduct, aiming to encourage American companies to reshoring manufacturing back to the US, thereby boosting domestic job creation and industrial output. This narrative frames tariffs as a protective shield for American ingenuity and labor. However, this rationale faces widespread skepticism from economists and trade organizations. Critics argue that these tariffs are protectionist policies that, far from benefiting, actually harm domestic consumers and industries. Economic analysts assert that tariffs are essentially a direct tax on important goods. This initial burden falls on American importers, which is then passed to consumers as higher retail prices for everyday items. This means tariffs function as a regressive tax on American households, eroding disposable income and fueling inflationary pressures. Beyond prices, these tariff increases disrupt complex global supply chains. In our interconnected economy, products are built through multinational networks. Sudden tariff impositions create friction and uncertainty. Companies are forced to absorb costs, pass them on, or undertake expensive, time-consuming supply chain overhauls. This leads to increased logistical complexity, higher operational costs, and potential product delays or shortage. Furthermore, the escalating trade disputes carry the risk of a full-blown trade war. If targeted nations like China retaliate, it triggers a dangerous protectionist cycle that reduces international trade volume, slows global economic growth, and severely harms export-reliant sectors like agriculture and high-tech, as well as vulnerable small and medium-sized enterprises. SMEs institutions like the IMF and World Bank have warned that prolonged trade barriers significantly reduce global GDP growth. Lastly, trade friction extends to geopolitics and international relations, whose economic ties fray. Political tensions rise, eroding the trust and cooperation essential for addressing global challenges like climate change or pandemics. This breakdown of economic interdependence can lead to a more fragmented and confrontational international landscape. While tariff proponents hope for long-term US self-sufficiency, the realization remains uncertain. Conversely, the immediate painful negative consequences are already palpable across the global economy, making the path ahead fraught with immense uncertainty and demanding careful monitoring from all stakeholders. As the global community grapples with the intricate economic and geopolitical ramifications of the US tariff increases, it's abundantly clear that this issue remains a dynamic and critical saga that will continue to profoundly shape international trade and global relations for the foreseeable future. The choices made by key economic powers in the coming months will reverberate through markets, industries, and households worldwide, determining the trajectory of economic growth and stability. We'll continue to keep you thoroughly updated on all the unfolding developments as the world meticulously navigates the delicate and often perilous between the allure of protectionism and the proper benefits of open, collaborative markets.